We are discussing the number one threat to the world, and it's not who you think. And the reason why I wanted to discuss all this was because of the presidential debates that just happened, what was it, a few days ago? And I want to do an entire video about the presidential debates because I have a lot to say about it. So that's not the topic of this stream today. Even though I have a lot that I want to say about it, there's going to be a video of me speaking about that coming out in a couple days, most likely. However, it has sparked something very important that I want to talk about because I don't want people to get distracted here. And as you are going to see in the video that I'm going to release, it's going to be about how people are treating this sort of like a show that they watch in television, and they don't realize that they are involved in this, and the outcome is going to affect them critically. And I don't want people to get distracted. And I want people to understand who the real enemy here is, who the number one threat to the world is, not just America, but the world, because everyone is looking in the wrong direction. You have smoke screens everywhere. You have people who ask me like, oh, are reptilians controlling the world? And to questions like that, I just say, who cares? Who cares? To focus on the, people who, oh, what about the New World Order? I'm so afraid of the new, and the Illuminati, and the reptilians, and the aliens. And look, what I want to get across and really emphasize here is that the number one threat to the world is the old world order and the rich elites who control this world. And anything that they can do to get you distracted and not focusing on them, they will do. They are extremely happy for you to be looking for reptilian aliens or something like that, rather than focusing on them. They will do anything. They will sow as much discord as possible to get you from realizing who the real enemy is. Because in truth, you have the power. You have the power, not them. They are just a small minority that controls the world through illusion. And as soon as you realize that you have the power to change everything and to take them out of power, everything will change. But that's why they constantly sow discord and confusion and constantly get you focusing on the wrong things. And this is why what really sparked this idea here and me wanting to talk about this was, I mean, you guys think Donald Trump is bad? Trump is just one. He is just one of the rich elites. He is just one. You think he is bad? Imagine a world, well, the world is already controlled by them. But imagine them being, out of the shadows and fully in control without having to wear a mask or hide behind the scenes. Trump is just one of many. He is just a taste. Imagine an entire world run by people like him, with his ideals, his perspectives, and the complete and total annihilation of all that you hold dear, all your ideals, everything like this. So I want to emphasize the importance that we need to focus and realize who the real enemy is here. Because yes, Trump is bad. And what's happening in America right now is awful. And what you saw in the presidential debates is disgusting. But that is just a small taste. And so here's the thing. If, Biden wins in America, if Biden wins, the world is still going to be run by the rich elite, old world order. It's still going to be run by the rich elite. Trump might be out of the picture, but that doesn't change the fact that we will still be in a shit situation and in a prison planet. But the thing is, when it comes to Trump versus Biden and things like this, is that for us, we want to change the world, and it's much easier for us to change the world in a disguised false democracy than an outright fascist state that would happen under Trump's rule. So what I really want to emphasize here, that yes, what is happening in America is important, and we need to focus on that. And I just want to emphasize, though, that there is a much, much larger enemy behind the scenes that we need to stay aware of. Because I know, let's say that Biden wins. If Biden wins, which I hope he does. But if he does, I know a lot of people will be tempted to be plugged back into the matrix. They'll be plugged back in to the smoke and mirrors of this world and forget who still runs it, who still is behind the scenes pulling the strings and pulling the levers in this rigged world that we live in. So it's incredibly important while all this is going on to realize that we are a part of it. And to not just be complacent and act like, oh, this is a, you know, oh, look at the funny memes and oh wow, isn't Trump just crazy? No, we need to focus and realize what we want to do and how we can do this, and not just be complacent and inactive and just be, you know, someone sitting on the sidelines. So what I want to talk about here today is really focus and understand who the true enemy is, which is the old world order, the rich elites, who Trump is just one of many. He's one of their puppets, of course. So we need to really focus on that and see what can we do about them. What sort of things can we implement? What kind of plans for the future can we make to make sure that their rule ultimately comes to an end and we can have a truly free world? Not just a free America, a free world. So, let's forget about the whole let's make America great again. Well, when was America ever great? During slavery, when women couldn't vote, when was it great? Anyway, let's not make America great. Let's make the world great. Let's just not even think about these petty ideas of, one country out for another. It's time to make the world great. This whole idea of, let's make America great again is ridiculous. So let's dive into this, and I'm very passionate about this subject. I'm sure you can tell. So I want to make this really, really clear, because I knew that this was going to come up, and I already see some comments about this. And this is not the focus of this stream, okay? About saying, oh, well, but isn't Biden terrible too? Yes, Biden is awful. Biden is terrible. So this stream isn't about, Trump versus Biden or anything like this. What I'm talking about is the old world order, those who are behind the curtain and control everything. And the world will stay the same whether Trump or Biden is elected. So yes, both Trump and Biden, whoever wins, they're both awful. They're both terrible. However, my point is, though, that it will be easier for us to change minds and change the world, etc., in a system where Biden is, look, Biden will lead to a disguised democracy, a false democracy, which is bullshit. But under Trump, it will be outright fascism. And under outright fascism, for example, it would be very like, am I still going to have a platform to be able to speak? Am I still going to be able to get ideas out there? All the ways of us being able to communicate, for those of us who live in America, will become jeopardized. So this isn't about, yes, Biden is awful too, of course. But the point is that, given a choice, it's easier to work to enact change under one rather than the other. It's easier to enact change again, Biden is awful, but, Trump outright, basically admitting that he's a white supremacist by refusing to call them out. Come on, guys. Come on. It's easier to enact change under one system rather than another. So I don't want this to be a whole debate on, oh my God, but isn't Biden awful? Yes, Biden is terrible too. My point is, do you see how you're getting distracted? Don't get distracted. This is my point, and this is why I want to talk about this. This is the whole point. This is the whole point. Behind the scenes, regardless if it's Trump or Biden, the old world order remains in power. And this is the rich, elite, billionaire class. They control all the strings and the levers. Can you vote them out? Do you have a vote? Do you have a say when it comes to the rich elite, the billionaires? Do you have a say with regard to that? No, you don't. You have no say whatsoever. So the point is, right, and this is, again, I really want to emphasize this because I see people getting distracted. Do you see that Any distraction is a win for them. Any distraction is a win for them. So we have to realize that our goal is a new world. We want to establish a new world. The system that this entire world operates under is broken and it is flawed. And we have a document that you can read for free called A Message from the New World Order by the Hyperion Collective. If you look this up on Amazon, you can read this for free. In some countries, it's like $1, and that's not me. Amazon makes that. I want this to be free everywhere. But unfortunately, for some countries, it makes it $1. But anyway, that's not my control. For the U.S. and many countries, it's absolutely free on Amazon. And yes, this is a message from the New World Order that outlines our vision for the future. And we are not afraid to use the phrase New World Order. Why? Because we are opposed to the Old World Order. We are opposed to how all the old ways. We want a completely new world. And as long as you're afraid of anything new, you will be stuck in the past and stuck with conservative ideals rather than walking into the future. So it's very important to never be afraid of the new. Do not be afraid of the new. Anyone who tries to associate fear, do you see how there's so much fear surrounding the phrase New World Order? Well, as long as you are associating fear with the phrase new, that means you're going to be stuck in the past. So the Old World Order loves to sow fear regarding new, anything new. So don't get stuck in the trap where you associate fear with new, because the new is what the old fears. So what is the New World Order? It's precisely that which is opposed to the Old World Order, the old ways of doing things, the old elites, the old mainstream religious systems, the old systems of enslavement that keep you trapped into a 9-to-5 job, all the old systems of control, all the old levers and rigged games that they play to make sure that you are always losing and they are always winning. That is absolute bullshit. So do not be afraid of the new and don't associate fear with new. What you need to not be afraid of, but be aware of, is the Old World Order, and those are the rich elites that control this world, sow division and sow fracture everywhere. Do you see how much fear? Not only is there fear surrounding the phrase New World Order, but there is fear around unity. Right? Whenever anyone talks about, a united world, a global world, it's like, everyone gets terrified. Oh my goodness, a one world system? Why do you see the nefarious deed once again? Why should you fear a one world system? That is the whole point, you guys. What is the opposite of one world? A fractured, divided world. We want a united world where everyone has equal opportunity to learn, grow, explore themselves and their world, and create art. So don't fall for the bullshit that associates fear and division with these concepts that are liberating. So once again, if you haven't read it, I highly recommend that you do. But it also talks about many things that we wish to implement with regard to a system that will make sure that the rich elites can no longer be in power. For example, we want a system that starts to take the emphasis away from money and put the emphasis onto individuals' talents and compassion and intelligence and things like this. Because look at, do you see, like, even when people run for president and things like this, it's just a money begging game. Everyone's begging for money. You turn, how many times, come on guys, how many texts and phone calls and ads have you gotten about, the presidential campaign being like, we need more money to win. So if you're really trying to have a fair system, why should money play into it whatsoever? Why should money be a factor? It should be based on your merit, your talent, your ability to do the job, your reason, your intelligence, and your compassion, your ability to have the good of the people and the collective in mind rather than self-interest. That is how a healthy system should be. And we live in a system that is the complete opposite of that. I mean, like, again, look at Trump. Is he qualified for the position he's in? Is he meritable? Nope. Is he rational and intelligent? Nope. Is he compassionate? Nope. It's complete and total self-interest. So you see how the world is in a completely inverted state. And all the systems that would help and free you and us have been associated with fear, so that you fear anything that would potentially free you and free us. So a huge point that we need to make clear in a new world, that the rich billionaire class needs to be jettisoned. And when we have people that want to be in positions of leadership, it should not be based on money, but rather on merit, talent, intelligence, and compassion. You need to show that you are compassionate, that you have the will of the people in mind, the good of the people in mind, and that you will lead with intelligence and show that you are qualified for the job that you have taken upon yourself. So what I really want to emphasize too is what our system of meritocracy is about, because I want you to think of two very, very opposed ideas, right? On one hand, you have communism, and then on the other hand, you have capitalism, okay? So you have capitalism and communism, and they're sort of the opposites. They're antithetical to each other. And what we, and you'll see this big debate right now between, capitalism versus communism or socialism or something like that. There's this big debate. And what I want to emphasize is that what we are proposing for a new world is not capitalism, not communism, but meritocracy, which is a third idea that is a synthesis higher and above these other two ideas. So capitalism is all about the individual, and communism is all about the collective. Now, what meritocracy is about both the individual and the collective. It's a synthesis of the two. Now, how is it about the individual? Well, it's about the individual because people should be rewarded for their efforts. If you contribute something to society, if you're a brilliant painter, a brilliant artist, a brilliant philosopher, a brilliant mathematician, you should be rewarded for that. You absolutely should. However, if you are... the point is, though, to remember that it shouldn't be rewarded hugely disproportionately. Like maybe, let's say you make you rewarded 20 times more than the average person. Contrast that to our current world, which the rich elites make thousands and thousands upon thousands of times more than the average person, and through their hoarding of wealth, the world suffers and destroys. So it's completely disproportionate. So people should be rewarded for their efforts. If you're a brilliant painter, artist, whatever, you should be rewarded for this. Absolutely. And however, it shouldn't be so disproportionate that the world suffers for it. And everyone needs to be starting on equal footing. Everyone needs to be provided with the resources they need to live a healthy life, which means everyone should receive a universal basic income, everyone should receive housing, everyone should receive free education, and everyone should receive free universal health care. These are staples that everyone needs to have. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You need to have what provided for you, what you need to survive and live. And this should not be a controversial idea. For everyone to have a roof over their head and food and education should not be something that's controversial. This is something that is a right to every living human individual on this planet. Everyone should receive that. So, you see how meritocracy is a synthesis and goes above and beyond all these lower ideas. Because in capitalism, it leads to the rule by the elite, which destroyed the world. It's unrestrained. And you can see the result that it leads to the businessman leading the world. And what's the archetype of the businessman? It's the devil. You see the businessman with the horns, and even humanity is aware that the archetype of Satan goes with the businessman. So capitalism leads to a satanic rule in that sense. And communism forces everyone to be equal. And in a world where you're forced to be equal, you lose incentive to do anything. So, if a brilliant individual who contributes so much to the world is rewarded just as much as someone who sits at home and watches Netflix every single day, well, then you lose your incentive to do anything. It's like, oh, well, I feel really devalued now. So you see where meritocracy goes above and beyond these flawed ideas, where everyone receives what they need at the beginning to be able to flourish and grow. Universal basic income, free healthcare, free education, a roof over your head, housing, and not only that, but people are rewarded according to their efforts. Someone who puts in a lot of effort and creates brilliant things will be compensated and rewarded and given respect for such a thing. That's absolutely necessary. So you can think of it kind of like, if we want to use an analogy of a race, capitalism is like, imagine a race. Everyone at the, starting point and running towards the finish line. Okay, let's imagine that that's the analogy we're using. Capitalism is like a rigged race where some people start at the beginning and then others start like a few feet from the finish line. It's a rigged race. And what's that like? Well, that's because, the rich elites can transfer their wealth through inheritance to their children. They can give their children through inheritance billions of dollars. And that's not fair. It's a rigged system. That's like, not everyone starting the race at the same point. Some people are starting just, a few feet from the finish line. So capitalism results in a rigged race. And what's communism? Communism is a race, but everyone is forced to run at the same speed. Right? Everyone is forced. Everyone has to run exactly at the same rate, no matter what. That's sort of the race that communism leads to, which is not fair. It's not fair. Capitalism is not fair, and communism is not fair. Meritocracy is the system that is the fair race, where everyone starts at the same starting line, which means, what does that mean by starting at the same starting line? That means everyone starts with free education, free healthcare, universal basic income, a roof over their head. Everyone has what they need. No more and no less. And then the race starts, and the race is determined who wins the race, who goes farther than others. It depends on the individual's merit. If you put more into, creating a better world and a better life for yourself and for others, you'll get rewarded proportionately. So you see how meritocracy is the system that is the fair race. Meritocracy is the system that is above and beyond these lower ideas. So, it's about having this fair race. It's about removing power from the rich elites, abolishing this idea of being through inheritance, transferring huge amounts of wealth to their children. It is about making sure that we also have qualified voting as well. And something I want to really emphasize about qualified voting, it's important to have qualified voting. Why is that? Because if you have a system that is not qualified voting, think about it. Two racist votes by two racist individuals will outvote a philosopher genius. How fair is that? How fair is a system that isn't qualified voting, where two votes by racists will outvote one vote by a philosopher genius? Does that seem fair? Does that seem like how the world should be decided? No, absolutely not. So in meritocracy, the system of qualified voting is that if you want to vote on something, you need to show that you have an understanding of what it is that you're voting on. So if you want to vote about, something to do with healthcare, you need to show that you understand something about healthcare. And the level of competency that you have regarding the subject, the more weight that your vote will carry, and things like this. And this is incredibly important, because if we don't, we will have a world run by the lowest common denominator, where the uneducated masses would be able to determine everything. So that's what happens in a system where you have just this completely and totally unrestricted voting system, which is completely bullshit. But anyway, let me jump into the comments real quick here, because I'm sure that there is a lot of questions about all this. And let me see. Zach Button, thank you for helping us wake up the world. And Julian Daniels, thank you for helping us wake up the world as well. Julian Daniels says, the new world order that the elites want us to think is spooky is actually a future extrapolation of the old world order. Sowing fear about it blinds us to the fact that the dystopian order is what the old world order results in. Yes, and that's what I want to emphasize here. The old world order is here and now. We currently live in a dystopian world. Look around you. We're in the middle of a pandemic. There are riots everywhere. There is discord and disunity everywhere. There's police brutality everywhere. Hey, have you woken up yet? Dystopia is here. It's not a dystopian future. It's a dystopian now. And unless we do something about it, it's just going to get worse. And unless humanity, if we can wake up humanity, it's just going to get worse. So I want to emphasize that. It's not a dystopian future. It's a dystopian now. It's a dystopian now. And I mean, come on, look at the presidential debates. We have a president who refuses to reject white supremacy. How much more dystopian can you get in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of police brutality, in the middle of racial injustice, in the middle of everything that's going on? This is a dystopian now. So it's important that we realize that it is a dystopian now and that we need to change the world. So how do we change the world? I want you to understand that this is a war of the mind. This is a war of consciousness. So it is about going out there and spreading these ideas and waking people up and getting people to understand what we need to do and what we need to make happen. Because to implement a new future, we need a large amount of highly conscious individuals. Because if we tried to implement, let's say we tried to implement a new system tomorrow, it wouldn't work. Why wouldn't it work if we tried to do it tomorrow? Because we don't have people at the level of consciousness necessary for it to happen. And they wouldn't understand it. They wouldn't get it, right? They would think that they would, but they wouldn't. So what needs to happen? We need to spread these ideas everywhere and emphasize the raising of consciousness and education. We need to educate people on why things need to be changed, how they need to be changed, that we need to change the world with an Abraxian consciousness in mind, where we understand that we're part of a feedback loop system. We're from the Abraxian perspective, we're all bound up with each other, and to hurt another person would just be to hurt ourselves, because we are the one and the many. We are the individual and the collective at the same time. So we need people to understand that, and we need to wake. That's why I say we're in a war of the mind. This is a war of consciousness. We need to wake up the world. So this is why you need to go out there, spread this information, share videos like this, spread information like this, show people that we need to change the world based on higher ideals, a higher understanding, a higher consciousness. Because how can we have a world that's going towards a society of the divine if people don't even have that concept, if people don't even know that? We need leadership that understands that we are teleological striving for a divine world and divine society. We need leadership that understands that, or else we'll never get there. If you don't know where you're going, you'll never get to your destination. You have to have a destination to be able to get there. So we need highly conscious individuals to be able to do this. So how do we do this right now? It's about spreading information, showing people that we, getting out of these smoke screens, oh, is it capitalism? Oh, is it communism? Oh, is it this? Oh, is it that? No, look, no. We are all about creating a new world, a society of the divine, and guys, these ideas should be common sense. It is not, it's crazy that it's radical that people should have free education. It's crazy that it's radical that people should have free healthcare. It's crazy that it's radical that this world should not be determined by money. So, I really want to emphasize that what I'm trying to get across here are some high-level ideas that's being compressed into a short amount of time, but I want you to understand where it is that we are at and not to get distracted and realize who the real enemy is, the old world order who sits behind the scenes and always wins no matter who on the outside may lose. They always win. So it's up to us to have this understanding and to wake up the world based on that understanding. And I really want to say that I know that I haven't commented much on the presidential debates, but I will in an upcoming video. The point of this is for you to realize that the true enemy always is the old world order behind the scenes, and we need to wake up the world, spread these ideas, show people that there is a new level of consciousness available where we can build a better world and reach a society of the divine where we are no longer fighting over if the homeless should be fed or not, if people should have a roof over their head or not, if racism should be a thing or not. How stupid can you get? Where we can finally live in a world where this is common sense, where racism is gone, sexism is gone, where people have the food that they need, the housing that they need, and the education that they need, and the health care that they need, so we can stop fighting about these basic human rights and start living and actualizing ourselves. We're not even at the level yet where humanity is focusing on actualizing themselves. It's still a struggle for survival. It hasn't progressed much from the basic primordial slime of evolution. We're still at that such a base level where predators are just fighting amongst prey and things of this nature. No, we need to get to the level where we are at a sufficient level of consciousness where all these ideas are understood to be common sense. Of course racism should be obliterated. Of course sexism should be obliterated. Of course people should have free education and free health care. How stupid can you be to think that free health care is controversial? Yes! If someone is dying, it should not be determined how much money they have in their pocket if they live or if they die. How stupid can you be to be in a world that thinks that is okay, and that it's radical to think that they should live even if they don't have any money in their pocket? How ridiculous. Anyway, I hope you see I really want you guys to realize that it is not a dystopian future. It is a dystopian now, and it is up to us to spread awareness, raise consciousness, and bring light to these ideas so that we can finally step into a new world. Dylan Walker says, out of curiosity, Morgue, do you think using your platform as political rants is a good thing? I like your content, but I do not come here for politics. I have people who tell me that all the time, and guess what? I could give a fuck. Because my channel isn't about one thing or the other. My channel is about creating a new humanity and a new earth. That's what I always say. What are we about? A new humanity and a new earth. And that entails the removal of the rich elite from power. So I don't care if you like it or not. Sorry, not sorry. I don't care. I get people who go, oh, I really like your channel, but I don't know if you should be talking about religion like how you do. I don't care. I don't really like your channel, but I don't think you should be talking about politics like you do. I don't care. I really like your channel, but I don't like how you talk about that. I could give a fuck. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not here to put on a show for you. I am here to show you what needs to be done for all of us to come together to create a new humanity and a new earth. So I don't care if you like what I have to say or not. I'm not here to please. I'm not here to entertain. I'm not here to be a clown. I'm not here to be the court jester. I'm here to show this world what needs to be done and point out the errors and the flaws. And guess what? People don't like that. What happened to Socrates, who pointed out the errors? Well, they killed him. People don't like it. They didn't like Socrates. They killed Socrates. I don't care. Sorry if that's not nice. Again, I'm not here to be nice. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. You are an amazing community. But and you guys are all part of helping us create a new future and a new world. And I love each and every one of you guys so much. I'm not a heartless individual. I have so much compassion for those who want to build a new world. That's why this community means so much to me. Because in a dark world, you guys are the ray of light. In this desert, you guys are the sprouts that are blooming, and that means so much to me, more than I can possibly articulate. But yes, for those who criticize and whatnot, honestly, I really don't care if you like it or not. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not like just, oh, look at me, I'm a YouTuber or something like that. No, that's not what this is about. This is a war of the mind, and that entails talking about religion. This entails talking about the rich elite. This entails talking about the old world order. It entails all of these things. And yeah, so that's my answer to that. Someone says, I appreciate that you're not afraid to speak out about these things. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for recognizing that. I mean, I get a lot of hate and a lot of negativity, but I deal with it. Why? Because this community means so much to me, and I will fight for this. This is what is worth fighting for in this world. Being able to bring together like-minded people like each and every single one of you, so that we can create a new world. And that's most important. That is what means everything to me. It means everything to me. And so I will always fight for that.